All right, welcome back to Bye Guys Crypto Show, episode 6, where mania rules, caution rules. We play the fools for your viewing pleasure. I'm Raff.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Stu.
We here to talk crypto every day, all day, every Monday at least, as it stands. This show is 20% almonds, 30% pistachios, 50% circus peanuts. Just as a simple reminder, and a friendly one as well, this is not financial advice. It's entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. Consume it accordingly. Now, listen, there's been a lot of excitement. This might be the first week since Bye Guys Crypto Show launched that we've had some green candles, baby. Woo! Let's check the market, son. Jeff, this is going to
All right, gentlemen.
This is pretty exciting.
First time in what seems like a month we've seen anything green. It's been down forever. So we'll go to the markets here and take a quick look. And yeah, we've got some green across the board. It's actually a nice little growth going on today. Bitcoin above 30,000, slowly made its way up to about 34,000.
Oh, it's close to 35, man. If it can creep over 35, that's a key threshold.
Yes, I know. 2 months ago would have been like, this is the world is falling apart. It's 50% down, but everything's relative. If you're looking over the last 2 weeks, slight glimmer of hope and growth. And we've got, Ethereum having a pretty big day. What is it, up 8% just today?
Good stuff.
Over the last 7 days, almost 12%. That's good stuff, right?
Big fan.
Raff, you made a pretty nice selection last week at this time in your moon bowls. So good job. So I guess going down a couple things here, we'll catch up on. We'll just take a look at the big market. I think you said it last week, Raff, right? When in doubt, zoom out. So let's zoom out and just see where we're at from a market cap standpoint. So from last week to today, we were at about 1.3 trillion a week ago, touched 1.4 trillion. And here we are today, over 1.4 trillion. So, nice little bump, a little more institutional / retail getting back in the game. And I think that's a good sign. I mean, granted, still pretty far off if you look 3 months ago, just go back to where we were, 2.5 trillion. But, in order for the buy guys to buy low, you got to get a dip. So that's where we're at right now, and maybe recovering from one.
I think this entire market is setting up for a remarkable run in the next 8 to 12 weeks. And this low spot that we just went through the past month and a half we're going to look back and go, the buy guys were on fire, man. Cause these investments are going to double to triple over the next 6 weeks. That's my prediction. This is not financial advice.
It is not, but it's a good one. So before we move on to the next segment, Raff, I'll let you tee that up here in a second.
Right.
We're all learning here. I think it's good to just remind everybody that we are, I say we, I'm still learning. I think it's fair to say Stu is still learning. We're kind of a year or less into this thing. Raff, you've got more experience under your belt. You're the grizzly old veteran here, but I think, we're learning every day. And, I want to give a shout out to Coin Market Cap. This is a great website just for information about CMC.
I just made that up. It sounds like a pretty cool acronym. I think we should go with it. Better than CoinGecko.
It is. It sounds more legit, even though both are probably very good. But this one they're
both
legit.
great.
So the learning today, here's today's website insight. Just made that up. If you go to categories, you can see, and this is actually, beyond the laughs here, a good example of all of the utility that these coins and blockchain has to offer. So, there's 100 plus different categories, everything from health to gaming to real estate to DeFi, decentralized finance. You've got Oracle networks. You've got, what are some of the logistics? So, we'll just click on logistics, for example, and you've got VeChain.
Yeah, that's what I like to see. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, Raff, that's one of your Moon Bowl selections from a few weeks ago. So
right.
VeChain is a logistics token that is used solely, I think, for logistics and smart contracts, as we learned recently. But, it's a great place to just go and find out, like, hey, where are all these assets? What are they linked to? What kind of utility do they have beyond just the description you might read? And, some of them are tied into multiple different categories. So just think that's a neat place to get information and learn more.
I'm learning a ton. I thank you for introducing me and the audience to this. I feel much more sophisticated. Historically, I had like, Bitcoin as a store of value, VeChain is a supply chain type token, Telcoin is remittances. And I kind of like think of them in those types of categories, but that's a little bit more elaborate. It gives me some more in-depth insight. And I'm going to be checking that out after the show to get, educate myself, as we all should be doing.
Yep.
So let's move on, however, to news you can use. And Jeff has teed up some exciting stories for us tonight. What's on tap?
Well, there's a little bit of plagiarism going on today with all of these, right? Because I'm just pulling these from some big articles of the week, and this CNBC Make It section did it for me. So it made it really easy. Thought we'd just go over a couple of these. So I've got
Fish is
five
back on
highlight.
tour. I think is that what this is about?
Well, concerts are back. So this is an appropriate picture. I don't know what shows you guys are going to this summer. Hopefully a few, but Jack Dorsey looks like he's headed straight to the Grateful Dead. So Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk will discuss Bitcoin at an upcoming event, and then 5 other crypto moments from the past week. So really volatile week from last week, where it was just crashing. We were losing, share and value everywhere, to, middle of the week, saw a nice little bump, and now went back down at the end of the week. And now here we are on our way up. So there's a lot going on.
Let's take a moment to give a shout out to Taylor Locke, the author of this article that we're stealing our episode from today.
Yep.
Check her out on Twitter. Give her a follow.
So some good stuff going on here. So I'm going to go right to number 2. Thought this one was kind of interesting. So there's a couple themes. Want you guys both to jump in on this when we get through, but I'll highlight a few. Andreessen Horowitz launches $2.2 billion crypto fund.
I think it's Andreessen, actually. It's Andreessen. Don't worry, It's okay. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, please. That's I knew I would butcher that. So the quote that I liked from this, so these guys are obviously pretty smart in the financial sector, and just a quote that's highlighted: the size of this fund speaks to the size and opportunity before us. Crypto is not only the future of finance, but as with the internet in the early days, poised to transform all aspects of our lives. So pretty lofty statement there, but it gives you an idea of maybe where the puck is going. And this is a huge fund that's anchored solely on the crypto space. So some institutional money flowing in, right?
Not just any, by the way. I want to say those guys are behind the likes of Facebook, Twitter, etc. So they know a big opportunity when they see one. I could be wrong about that, by the way. I have to look them up, but I'm pretty sure they were like on the forefront of a lot of the sort of web 2.0 type content, social media, Twitch, and such.
Yep. Yeah. Good call, Raff. So you've got kind of an example of institutional / government adoption. You've got, the big news from a week and a half ago was El Salvador is making Bitcoin one of their legal currencies or tenders. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Tender or currency? I think currency. It's the same. Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. So they're giving every citizen, I want to say there's 7 million. I probably should have researched that number too. But a lot of people, everybody in El Salvador, get $30 worth of Bitcoin.
It's kind of like it's like a mini stimmy,
Yeah, right.
For the Central America cohort. It's exciting. It's interesting. I kind of want to, get dual citizenship here, get a little $30 BTC in my pocket.
There you go. I'm sure you'll come out even in that one. So that's pretty interesting.
Let me throw something out there. I just want to throw this out there because this is a positive story. I think broadly received. And when I first heard it, I thought that's fantastic. Like formal adoption by governing bodies. That's unusual. And I think that's El Salvador is the first country to do this. So obviously it's noteworthy. I have an interesting counter take on this that's starting to get a little bit of traction here in the DC circles. And that is well, where I first saw it was a gentleman named Jerry Brito. He's the executive director of Coin Center, which is sort of like a trade association for cryptos here in DC, and educating policymakers and the like. He had some interesting tweets out suggesting that, look, if you're a real true believer in Bitcoin and decentralization, what El Salvador government is doing here isn't really consistent with the ethos of the technology. They're forcing businesses, every business in the country, to accept Bitcoin. That means you have to buy sort of processing systems and things that, and so in a sense, it's a bit of a coercion to get adoption. And that would be a little bit inconsistent if you're a purist. Anyway, I'm just throwing it out there, guys, because as much excitement as there is around this, I would just want to point out there is a bit of a counter take that I just gave you the surface level description of it. I think there's a lot more behind it, and I would encourage you to check it out. Coin Center, and Jerry Brito is a very thoughtful guy on these topics, and certainly a pioneer in that space broadly in cryptos. So someone I look to for guidance. Anyway, just a thought to throw out to the audience, as well as my two fellow co-hosts. I'm looking out for you guys as well,
Very interesting take. And I guess it's a good example of, like, as this thing evolves and stubs its toe along the way, and where is the application for this? And we talked about in earlier episodes what China has decided to do with their digital CBDC, and is that the ideal way to leverage blockchain in a communist country? And then you've got El Salvador giving $30 worth of Bitcoin and forcing businesses to make it happen. And then, you've got, I'm sure, a lot of things in between on the ideal way to use it. So pretty cool stuff. So this is kind of the big story of the week, at least the one that jumped off the page to me and got me to look at the article, was Elon Musk, with one tweet changes the market. And then Jack Dorsey, of course, founder and current CEO of Twitter and Square, they have agreed to come together at an event called the B Word to talk about the adoption of Bitcoin. And I think it's interesting for a couple of reasons. Two, of the biggest names in the world in technology, thought leaders in that regard, probably pretty decent ambassadors for cryptocurrency, depending on the week. And they're coming together just to talk about Bitcoin adoption. I wish I'd actually discussed other forms of crypto adoption, but this event is probably going to have market implications depending on what comes out of it. If one tweet impacts the market, I imagine, an hour conversation between these two guys, sound bites are going to be lifted and will either drive market prices higher or lower based on what they say. And both are in their own way favorable to cryptocurrency. Musk a little bit more on the meme coin side of things with Dogecoin, and then you've got Jack Dorsey, who's a known advocate for Bitcoin. But maybe both of them come together and just back the utility of blockchain tech and cryptocurrencies in general, and forging new ground. So I thought this was a pretty neat article and headline to see what's going to happen down the road and how do they impact the market. So I don't know if we're going to buy or sell as a result of this, but
well, I know what we're going to do.
We're going to buy. Yeah,
we're going to buy because that's what we do. And by the way, I think this is emerging as a very convenient side bet. It's going to be around week 8 or 9. It looks like, of the Buy Guys Crypto Show. I'm thinking we should place another 25 down just to say whether the market cap goes up or down the week after those two gentlemen sit down for a conversation. As you said, Jeff, short or, if it goes down or up, it's short term, I'm not concerned. The fact that these two guys are going to be talking about it's going to drive much more interest and excitement and coverage. And in the long run, that's good for the entire sector. So I'm excited for that conversation, regardless of what happens in the short term. And I just like, on a quick side note, wish a happy 50th birthday to Elon Musk. Yeah, baby. Today, I just saw him tweet that out today. And I'm sure he's a big fan of the Buy Guys Crypto Show, and want to make sure he gets a little shout out from our community. But let's move it on to what we've all been waiting for, and clearly what Stu's just been saving up all his energy for. He's been quiet down there. But
I was gonna jump in there at the end and just kind of talk. I mean, the big umbrella part of the conversation was just about the reasons for adoption. And I don't have much, but you look at investment banks that are gobbling up Bitcoin. I think that's the reason here. I think to Jeff's point that he just shared, the billionaire endorsements and the discussions that are being had, that has ramifications on the market. You look at different things like just the developers in general, the amount of activity and how they're massively increasing among crypto assets. That's driving this adoption. And institutions, I think, are starting to realize that they have to adopt or risk losing relevance. I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it. But for folks like me, I mean, there's a surge in popularity because we understand it more. I'm learning it more as I sit here and I listen to you and Jeff talk about news you can use, right? I mean, so the understanding that helps in growing the popularity. And I think the security and speed of crypto, I think folks like that. But then lastly, and then I'll turn it back to really why the only reason I jumped on tonight is just to talk about moon bulls, but just the emerging markets and trends, right? I.e. the NFTs that we've talked about on previous shows. I saw something just the other day about Taco Bell, right? I mean, Taco Bell had an NF Taco Bell collection of like, these GIFs or however you pronounce it. And they were selling for just silly amounts of dollars. And it's just becoming more and more accepted, more and more popular. And hence the reason I think for adoption. But again, that's just kind of my quick take on the big umbrella conversation that Jeff shared with us on News You Can Use. So appreciate that.
Well, that's a great turning point, great segue to the running of the Moon Bulls, everybody's favorite portion of the show. Just a reminder, we have been investing now for 6 weeks, one currency a week of our choosing, starting off with $50, then $25 in subsequent weeks. And we're tracking the collective value of those assets, trying to see who's going to have the greatest, moon bag in the next, by week 10, which is our closing episode. And, I started off strong. Stu took a commanding lead last week. And whoa, look at this. How the worm is, well, we're all back to pain of varying degrees. Rafferty's dipped down to third place. That's disturbing. But it's a close battle. It's neck and neck. And I think what's most notable here, though, is Stu's is taking a big hit, man. The AMP, I think it just kind of tanked on you there, right? Is that what happened? XRP's underperformed a little bit.
I think it hit the floor. I look at it as a 6 cent floor. That's where it's going to be, and that's the reason I bought more of it today. About another 412 tokens. I'm going to stick with AMP and Flexa in general. Their basic approach to growth.
You're just going to ride that donkey all the way to the stage.
And I think just when you look at these three, I mean, it's just kind of indicative of who we are, right? I've taken one approach. Jeff's taken another approach. And it's we're going to see what works. But I like the fast transactions, the guaranteed payouts. No chargebacks. I like that Flexa. They've taken that incremental, just slow approach to gaining customers. Not a lot of complexity to it. Minimal overhead. I'll take that. I'm sitting on. At the end of this show, we'll have about 3,000 AMP tokens. And again, it's a 6 cent coin right now. I will tell you, and then I'll turn it over to Jeff, that if this coin goes to 8 cents, you're both cooked. If you go to 10 cents, you're both cooked. And I wouldn't have to even spend the next $75 in this content. So I'm comfortable where it's at. You two figure out your path to winning, because I'm comfortable that as long as I keep buying more AMP, I'll be just fine in 4 weeks.
Well, if it goes up, it's just going to cover my losses in this contest because I also own it outside of the Moon Bulls contest. So, we have a little bit of a vested interest in the AMP doing okay. So for me, you mentioned different strategies. I'm a more stable, consistent. I do like to stay sort of in the mainstream. You guys are a little more on the fringes. I do like the fact that Raff has started to adopt my diversification approach with now 4 coins, which he was banging on me 2 weeks ago for having more than 3. So glad we're equals in that regard. So the coin I'm going to pick this week. Did you talk about the one you picked up, Stu? I don't know if you even mentioned it.
I did.
He's just on
12 more AMP tokens.
He's on the AMP train. He might let's just put him down for AMP for the rest of this, because that's all he's a one trick pony.
Exactly.
Not true. Not true.
Oh yeah, it won't be true, because you're gonna have some catching up to do. Trust me, son, it's not over until it's over. Crypto is it's gonna change quickly, and we're gonna make a big comeback. I can't wait to hear what Jeff's got up his sleeve here.
Well, it's not all that exciting. So I'm gonna go with Dot. I looked over my four. I feel like I've got a solid base, and then it's just deciding from week to week which one do you want to put money into. So in the wee hours of the morning, I tend to buy earlier than you do, Raff. You're on one end of the day, which is probably right after the show. I tend to buy the very beginning of Monday. So I got 1.77 of DOT, and I was looking at my phone. It's already gone up like 6%. So, it's a good buy so far. Probably be down half of that tomorrow. But for now, all good. I'm going to go with Polkadot, parachains for the world.
I like it. I respect it, I guess is what I would say. If you look at those, and again, those numbers they are revealing. We all had a pretty rough first week because we started off with $50. And so $50 went down to $21 for XRP. $50 went down to $32.50 for ADA. $50 went down to $28.92 for OGM. I mean, if it was just the first week, Noah, you'd be ahead. How about that?
Imagine what this contest would be if XRP was performing.
Yeah, that's another thing, my friend. And I do believe it's going to make a comeback, just maybe not on the time horizon of our show. However, what is going to moon in the very near future, and by that very near future, I mean by next week, and I will be I'm calling my shots. I'm going to be sitting at the top of this leaderboard again, because unbeknownst to you guys who are kind of like, trying to figure out strategically where you want to go, I got a little background info. I got some secret connections with a little place called Telcoin, my friends. And yes, I already have $25 worth that kind of tanked a little to 1807. It's okay though, because you guys might have heard version 3.0 of the Tel app is set to launch on June 30th. That's not actually true. I read it I think it's on Reddit, so it must be true, right? No, for real, version 3 of that app is going to launch allegedly before the end of this month. That means we only have a couple more days. And when that hits, it's going to be an amazing impact, like a deep impact, like the movie, like a comet's going to smash into the earth.
Wasn't Morgan Freeman in that?
There were two versions. Deep Impact. What was the other one called? The asteroid movies. There were like competing asteroid movies, right?
Not Armageddon, right?
Yeah, that was right. Good call, man. Good pull.
Huh.
Anyway, it's going to be like both of those combined, plus 2012, which was kind of a terrible movie, actually. Anyway, bottom line, I'm going in. I haven't bought it yet, but I'm going to get $25 worth of Tel. That's going to build my nice stack up. And that is going to, 2, 3, 4, 5x in the next 7 days. And then I'll see you, you guys can be sucking on my exhausts. How's that sound?
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Is that Joey Harrington in the back? Is that what his name was? Joey O, or what was it in the background there? The duck, the quarterback.
It might be.
It might be. Yeah. Okay. Get with the times, buddy. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
All right, love you guys.
I'll go with the rookie of the year over here, Justin Herbert.
Listen, we're having a good time. I hope you're all enjoying the show. Reach out to us at byguyscryptoshow@gmail.com. Drop us some comments, hit some likes, hit the subscribes. Welcome new subscribers. We're up a couple subscribers this week. Slow and steady wins the race. Anyway, crypto is like the lottery because you got to play to win, but in crypto, you got to buy to fly to the moon, baby. Till next time. See ya.